We're going live. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so we had some technical difficulties depending on when and why we started broadcasting on Facebook. You might have witnessed some of them, but we're here. We made it. It's
Yay.
Tiara International. We're a women's leadership company, and we do Facebook Live on Fridays, usually around noon Central Time, but we're early today because we're welcoming special guest Barbara Bellissimo. She is with us from Martha's Vineyard today. And she's with us because she is the founder of International Tiara Day, which is actually today. And when we discovered through our network, a couple different places, people were sending me last month, hey, did you know that there's a Tiara Day? And I was like, well, no. And so I started researching it. And I was very delighted to see that the principles on which the day was founded were very similar to the principles behind the symbol of the name for us. So again, we're Tiara International. I'm Betsy Sobiak, one of the global leaders. I'll go around and introduce everybody so you can see who's with us today. But we're very excited to have Barbara and very excited to be officially, I think for the first time for us, celebrating International Tiara Day. So when I go around and call on you, so we don't have that awkward pause of popcorning in, why don't you say who you are, where you're coming from, and then also what the symbol of the tiara does mean for you. And we'll just get that right into the conversation from the beginning. So Beth, why don't I start with you?
Okay. I'm Beth Ruski. I'm calling from Chicago, from the Chicago area. Love the tiara symbol. Didn't even realize that I loved it before we were part of Tiara because I'll show you. We'll have a show and tell today. This is the Irish clottering. You can see the crown on there. Mm-hmm. And the Irish clottering stands for it's got three symbols in it. The heart is love. The hands are friendship, which is community. And the crown is loyalty. Oh. And so for me, I've been wearing some version of claddagh probably since I was maybe 15 years old. So it really is kind of part of my DNA. And I didn't even get that connection until you asked about and set up like, hey, think about, the Tiara International Tiara Day. So yeah.
Oh, that's really lovely. Thank you. I don't think I knew that about the claddagh. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peg, how about you?
So I'm Peg Rowe, and I'm likewise from the Chicago area. And the tiara symbol for me is super important because when I think of it in terms of our community and what we stand for, I think it is really representing individual women stepping into their power, owning who they are, and being authentic and coming from that really authentic place.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Alison.
Hi, I'm Alison Miller, and I live in the Los Angeles area. I did spend a good 18 years in Chicago and then came out here. And I resonate so much with Beth, what both of you have already said, Beth and Peg. But I think one of the things I love about the tiara symbol is actually the imagery of a queen with the tiara on, kind of in that space of being able to sit back and look out. That so much of what we do is really about helping you as a woman, as a leader, as an individual, to step back and actually bring a degree of consciousness to who you are and how you lead your life, and the recognition that you have far more choice than likely you even know. And there's something about the image of you put on the tiara, you step back into yourself, and then you can go from there and choose how you want to lead your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. Francisca, how about you?
Hi, yes, that's all beautiful. So my name is Francisca Dekker, and I am calling in from the Netherlands. I regularly visit Chicago at least once a year. And the symbol of the crown, indeed, for me, it refers to the queen, the position of a queen, and especially the position of a true queen. And it makes me think about what a true queen and say the good queen can do for her people. So she is coming from that authentic place inside of herself, yes, and she has the best. She wants the best for the people in her country, in her land. So she's there for the bigger good. I love that.
Mm-hmm. So interesting. And Barbara, for your benefit, we were inventing this business through a program we were offering for female leaders right around 2007, 2008, I think. just to give you a little context. So I'd love to hear from you when you invented the day, why you invented the day, what you still are doing, how your business has evolved since then, just to weave your story with ours.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. As you may know, International Tiara Day started in 2005, so quite a while ago. And it was started in conjunction with a book launch that I did, a book called Become Your Own Great and Powerful, which I authored with a group of women that we called ourselves the Secret Order of the Tiara. So the book includes lots of tips around women's leadership and how to feel, how to stand strong in your own power. And that's the symbol of the tiara for me at the time, and for us at that time, was either a real tiara or a virtual tiara. Helps you to stand strong, to feel worthy, to start to be comfortable in your own confidence. So we started International Tiara Day. We registered it with the Registry of Days, which is and we didn't know that the day exists forever. So we did the book launch in 2005. We did a 1-year anniversary celebration in 2006. And then we all sort of went our merry ways. I continued my work at that time, which was really broadly focused on helping women build their confidence and to connect with other women in that way. My work then narrowed to be very specific around helping women ask for money and be confident in asking for money to start their business, to fund their nonprofit, etc. And over time, over the last couple of years, that's broadened back out a little bit to be how to ask for anything. So women, as we all know, are challenged to stand out, to be assertive, to ask for what we want, to identify what we want in certain cases. So that's sort of the evolution of the work I've done empowering women over the last 14 years. And it's so fabulous to have heard from you all about the celebration of International Tiara Day and the work that you do.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that there are so many things that connected us just as far as the mission that we're on, the complementary missions. For me, the tiara has always stood for that inborn power, like the power that you just have within you, that you don't have to ask permission for, that as you grow and develop yourself, that you feel more and more comfortable and confident in your own skin, whatever it is you're building, whoever it is you influence. And so I can really see that connection to the asking. I know in the work we do with women, we always have a component in how to make that clear request, how to ask, how to create a promise that is really meaningful and manage it with integrity and that kind of thing. So it sounds really familiar to us. And I would say that another thing that has my attention is, so 2005 is when that group was started and the day was started. 2006, 2007 is when we were percolating on our business. We first called it Hand Me My Tiara, Please. Like, we wanted to be sort of lighthearted. And we liked the idea of the metaphor as opposed to just saying Women's Leadership Development Program. So we like the playfulness of it. But my question is, like, so 2005, 2006, 2007, where are we? Like, have we made some progress? Do women still need the exact same thing? What are we finding that women still need it in order to feel like they embrace that inner power and inner strength? Who has something that they would like to share just about, have we grown, have we made progress, or what it is that women are still asking for and longing for when it comes to this body of work?
I think our work with women and the work we do in Tiara International is, we work with individual women, we work with women, we work with professional women, we work with entrepreneurs, we work with corporate women as well. So we work with corporations who are serious about advancing female leadership. Right. So we've looked at supporting women from just about every perspective that we could. And I think one of the things that's fundamental for us is the belief that every woman is a leader. And that is so symbolic in that tiara. Like hospitals should put tiaras on women's head, on little baby girls when they come out, right? Little tiara, pop. Because it's just one of those things that if we could get that, is what I feel for younger women, if they can get that earlier in their lives, earlier in their careers, they actually can change. They can embrace the all of the things that you guys have described of what the tiara symbol means for you. Choice, you know, that you're a leader, that you show up with compassion, that you're authentic. All that is just embodied in a choice for you to just own who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I start.
Mm-hmm. And Alison, I know you've been working with younger people, both young men and young women. And I know you mentioned young women best. So tell us a little bit like what it looks like when you're working with these principles with younger people.
Well, it's actually remarkable because just a little bit of insight, awareness, perspective can really turn the lights on inside somebody. I'll just give you an example of a young woman recognizing that she was a leader in her own life, which was she and her mother had a history of having really severe arguments. And she was walking home and her mother and this young woman were having a text battle on the phone, which so often between mothers and teenage girls.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she remembered something we had talked about in terms of being influential. How are you being influenced in the moment? She realized in her language, she said, I was polluting. And she actually texted her mom and said, you know what, I'm going to walk around the block before I walk in the house. And she said, I did. I cooled off. I came in the house and I approached the conversation with my mother very differently.
Mm.
And then out of the corner of her eye, she saw her brother. And she said she almost broke down because she realized that how she was conducting herself was not just impacting her and her mother, it was having a profound impact on her brother. And that she had a responsibility as a leader in her family, that was a family where there was divorce, to show up differently in that relationship. And since then, I have seen her mother had a surgery and the outcome was not great. I've seen her rise up and take care of her mother and her brother and really grow up in a way that's been remarkable.
Yeah.
And she told me that the idea of being conscious of what ripple effect her energy was having in the world has made a huge difference in her life. And just that one concept, you know, and the kids in the school say to me all the time, why haven't we been learning this since kindergarten?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think it make a profound difference if we start bringing these ideas to young people. And in some ways, it's actually easier for them to get than it is when you're an adult.
Yeah.
And I think the other experience is that in our coaching with all of our clients, first of all, I think we've coached more and more men along the way, and the tiara model for true leadership and all the principles we're talking about really are gender neutral in terms of their strength and power. They were designed with women in mind because women were needing and longing for a different sort of structure and framework. Yet men are often included either in our programming or they benefit from the programming you do for the women in their lives. Barbara, have you found that too? I know you're focused on women, but what would you say the ripple effects for men are, and how have men been included in the journey that you've been on?
Well, it's been interesting for me with my clients. I work exclusively with women, but as women step into their power and really own who they are and drop the need to live up to other people's expectations and focus on their own, there is a ripple effect. And some of them are challenged by the ripple effect. You know, the people around us are very comfortable with who we are at the moment. And when we start to change, it can make them uncomfortable. So my coaching includes helping my client work through that and to help communicate, you know, I'm not really changing who I am inside. I'm changing how I express that. And I'm changing how I stand in my power. I'm not changing how I feel about you at the moment, although that may change further down the line. I'm not changing how I feel about my family. But to jump on to Alison's point, we tend to be so externally focused as women. How are other people reacting? How are other people doing? And when we realize the impact that has on other people, and when we stand confidently in who we are, we also see the impact that has on other people. And 9 times out of 10, it's a positive impact. You know, other people, men, women, young, old, see us standing there and they say, well, maybe as a woman, I could do that too. As a man, I see someone else standing in her power and bringing things to the table that I might not have realized she had.
And Peg, I know in our corporate work and the mentorship programs that you've been intimately involved with, you see that too, because we do include men in the corporate programming, especially when we are developing men as mentors or even including them in some of the group work that we do. So from that perspective, how has it been welcomed? Like both the name or the symbol of Tiara or the model when we include both men and women?
I mean, there are a couple of things. I would back up a little bit, Betsy, to your original question, which is almost, is it still relevant? Is there still a need for what we do? And I would say in the beginning, what we saw was individual women coming to us desiring to have the kind of programming that we did, like seeing themselves and seeing, oh, there's something else that I want. And I think the growth that we've experienced is that we're now seeing that become an awareness that is permeating a lot of companies, where they're really looking at the women in their organizations and how do they assure themselves that they're developing those women to be the leaders of the future and the leaders for now. And so I think there's been a real welcoming of the work that we do for companies that are ready to make that kind of change. They're really ready to embrace women as an entire group of leaders that shouldn't have to just sort of like fight through it individually, but are really getting the support they need. So in that respect, certainly in our mentoring program, some of the concepts that we offer and the way that we position things can occur for some men as new, and they sort of hit the pause button and think about it and say, oh, that actually makes sense. When we do the Tiara model in mixed gender groups, because we do that as well, there isn't any resistance to it. We don't actually always use the word tiara because that can have kind of a reaction that people aren't quite sure what that means for them. But certainly the concepts that we bring, the model that we bring feels very relevant to the men that we're working with as well. Because we look at what we do as what we would call applied leadership. So it's not teaching you competencies and skills. It's actually elevating someone's leadership beyond the doing of leader into the being of leader. And that is your universal. Men want to be able to do that and women want to be able to do that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you bring up that sometimes the name has been a little controversial, I think, especially at the beginning. Francisca, I think you have always been a very strong champion of the name Tiara. And I think in Europe, where you are and your community of women in Europe, there's been an attraction to the Tiara name. And I think in the US, we've had to struggle a little bit against like the pageant and princess and superficial nature of that in the world. But for you, I think it's been really strong. So in the Netherlands and in Europe, and I know that you've also done some complex projects, year-long projects with some women at the senior level of their career. Why do you love the name so much? And has it ever been a problem for you? Or what do people over there think of when they think of the tiara?
Well, it's so interesting that you bring this up, Betsy, because I had forgotten about it, that I am a strong advocate for the name. And we face similar challenges as in the US, that people think, especially, well, this is too American. Well, this is so typically here in the Netherlands, too American. So
you'll have to define that for us one day, what too American is.
No, we know what too American is.
Yes, we do.
I have a vision, but
okay. There's also something as typical Dutch and too Dutch. So we may have another Facebook live event on that.
I think we should have Prosecco when we have that conversation.
Yeah. Why have I always been such a strong advocate for the name? I think something that you have also mentioned before, Betsy, because it invites to a dialogue. People react to it. And then that can be a start of a dialogue and about what it is, what it entails, and what it brings. So that is beautiful. What is particularly important for me personally also is that blink of the eye, like, hey, don't get too serious about it all. Yes, life is hard, life is challenging, there are many problems to solve. And also the reminder of lighting up And maybe I need to remember that for myself just as much as I want to share that with other people and with the world.
Yeah, I think that's really important. The playfulness of it, the symbology of it, all of that kind of thing for sure.
Yeah.
And I hear as we talk about it.
I will put on my tiara now.
Oh, yeah, I did. I brought one too.
I got one too.
I couldn't find my good one. I don't know where my good one is. It's somewhere. Yeah, exactly. But we take it. Wow, that's really tall.
That is tall. you just added 4 inches.
Barbara's has got like colored gems in it.
Yeah, this is my
Barbara's
favorite
looks
one.
great.
Mm-hmm.
I know. So the symbol of it, the playfulness of it, that connecting to the feminine. Now that's something we haven't really talked about, that it is designed with women in mind. There is a balancing of the feminine and masculine energy in what we want to do. A lot of women we've worked with either feel like they've had to get results the traditional sort of more masculine way, which has some benefits, has some strengths. Yet we have been hearing in studies, like reading in studies and hearing in our circles, that balancing some of that linear masculine way of producing a result with the feminine, collaborative, the interconnectedness, the empathic way of doing it actually can move creative solutions forward faster or come up with different ideas. So maybe a couple, any thoughts about that? Like the feminine and the masculine and how bringing that forward for women today is what the world is wanting.
Let me start with just a cute little story about that. In our programs, we always give practices, we call it. We don't like to call it homework.
Right.
We usually have people practicing something during the month. Right. And so in one of our programs, one of the practices was to wear your tiara out in public.
Oh gosh, yeah, I forgot we'd done that.
Yes. So to really do it, like it takes something I couldn't find mine. That's why I'm not wearing mine today. But, to wear it in public. And where I chose to wear mine, I was coaching girls basketball at the 8th grade level. So 13 and 14-year-olds. And I chose as the coach to wear it that day. And everyone kept up to me, oh, it's your birthday, it's your birthday. I said, no, I'm just celebrating being a woman. And they were like, here I was, this basketball coach in a very masculine event, playing basketball with these girls. And it was probably one of the, I'm aware, I was aware then, and I'm probably more aware now of how impactful having the courage to show up that way for those girls, what that meant, but yes, so just symbolically being willing to, be both feminine and masculine, I think is important too.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a lot in listening really empathetically, so I can hear and hold all the perspectives and then see a solution emerge that feels like it's beyond what one person could have, thought of themselves. And so for me, that's when I'm at my most feminine and effective, when I'm in an influential leadership role. And it feels really different than when I feel very masculine, which is like ready to fight for something, which sometimes I have to do too. Like I've definitely gone into a position or stood up for something where I had to bring all of that, like I'm not changing my mind and I'm going to fight for something and go this way. And again, everyone has masculine and feminine traits and everything can have a benefit. But for me, the feminine is like the holding with empathy, all the different ideas and points of view and looking for something to emerge to move forward. And I do feel like that's useful in the world today.
I mean, really, many corporations will distill that down to collaboration at its absolute full and best meaning. And it's interesting because they don't label it as masculine or feminine, but move towards a collaborative approach to problem solving has actually been founded in corporations pretty strongly now for probably the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
So if we talk about it in terms of what it actually looks like behaviorally, as opposed to labeling it, I think that people can get like, oh yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. And Barbara, I'm curious for you, because you do work exclusively with women.
Right.
First of all, why you continue to have that focus. And then also with women, and you're talking about asking, which is one of those things that can be really confronting. So how do you interweave like either new or feminine or masculine ways of approaching asking in your work?
Right. It starts with confidence. So I don't really think about it as masculine or feminine. I think about it, how can I help my clients to stand strong in their confidence, to define what it is that they want in a clear way, and then to feel confident enough to ask for it in a way that other people will hear. So there's always a push and pull between a focus on the individual client and internally what's going on for her. Is she feeling worthy? Is she feeling deserving? Is she feeling clear around what she wants? And an external focus of who's sitting on the other side of the table when I'm making the ask, and where are they coming from, and how do I communicate with those people, with that person, in a way that he or she can hear my message, take it in, and then respond in a positive way. So I don't think too much about masculine and feminine. The passion that brings me to this work is the issue of gender equity. So for that reason alone, I focus exclusively on women, because I feel like men have historically had more resources available to them. So I choose to focus my resources with women clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's nice to hear you explain, because in our model, we start with acceptance and understanding of self. Mm-hmm. And that includes the confidence and clarity to be clear on what you want. Yet, when we talk about our results component, it is being really aware of the surrounding and the system and the other people that are there, and that all of that is very wise, that it's that balance of internal awareness and acceptance and confidence with what is the environment you're in and who's around you, and that kind of thing. So it feels very aligned for sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's do one more question and then we can wrap up. We could chat all day about International Tiara Day, but maybe
we can.
Yeah. So I would say I would end it like this, thinking of just the commonality of like our mission and the journey we've all been on and the work that we do. If like kind of embodying the spirit of the tiara principles that we've talked about for ourselves and our work, if we had a wish for women of all ages, if we had something that we would like to be able, from our place of being our own true queens, like say, I bestow this on you, this is my wish that I would grant you, or the thing I would give you, what is it that we would wish for women at this point in time?
I will go first.
Please.
I wish for every woman that she feels like she is worthy right now. Not that she will be worthy when certain things happen, but to feel like she is worthy right now.
Beautiful. Alison, how about you?
Add to that in saying that I would really wish that women would just have an experience of just loving themselves and really appreciating themselves and loving being alive. That they have this amazing opportunity to emanate out, I think, something that the world is really needing right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a time in our human history where I think people and literally the earth itself is calling out for women, for women's leadership.
Mm-hmm. Peg, how about you? Oh, are you on mute?
I said, yeah, like you could hear me. I love what both Alison and Barbara have said. I think my wish for women is to derive their energy internally, like to have a belief in themselves that allows them to be in the world authentically, and know that however they show up, if they're coming from their strengths and their authentic being, that's exactly what we need from them.
Mm-hmm. Great. Francisca?
I would like for all women to know that being kind to themselves and putting themselves first doesn't mean necessarily that they are not kind to others, or that they are not attending to people's needs and to other relationship.
Mm-hmm. Great. Beth?
I would like all women to know that they are at choice at every moment, and that whatever choice they choose is going to be perfect for them in that moment, and they need to trust that.
Mm-hmm. My wish for women is that they know and feel, and it's true, that they are supported by the community around them, by their families, and they're supported for who they are and acknowledged for giving it their best shot. And with that a lot of the comparison disappears. And it's just pure support for who you are, what your mission is, what you're about, and that we lift each other up on the journey. And I am lucky to have you all that do that for me. So thank you for that. And thank you, Barbara, for just jumping into our circle.
Oh, my pleasure. It's great to meet you all. Happy
Thank you for creating internet. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for creating the day, Barbara.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Cohorts back in the day.
So thank you all. Have a great International Tiara Day. I do hope you take this feeling of wearing a tiara, even if you don't literally do it, into your day-to-day, that space of feeling grounded, benevolent, clear, confident, worthy. And go ahead and wish someone else in your life International Tiara Day to start the dialogue if you want. We'll put a link to a blog below that talks about the tiara principles. We'll also link to Barbara so you can find her. Barbara, where can they find you? Why don't you say that out loud too in case someone doesn't see the link?
They can find me at www.barbarabellissimo.com. And Bellissimo is 2 L's, 2 S's, 1 M.
Perfect. And we are at tiaraleadership.com, so you can find us there. And you can like our Facebook page or our YouTube channel in order to stay up to date with weekly videos like this. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye.